Do you have to
Let me
have
see.
two stoves to be kosher? Is that the thing?
No, you don't need two stoves or two sinks. It's just a custom.
Yeah, there's a lot of stringencies that take place in the Jewish world today that really have no halachic basis, no actual halachic basis apart from just done for the sake of being stringent. But yeah, if you're going to have one stove or one oven between meat and dairy, you're going to have to burn it out. Typically, for I think the accepted understanding, again, these things aren't set in stone, is 45 minutes.
And a
Yeah.
sink, forget about it. You could use the same sink twice for meat
Okay.
and dairy. And
I was
plates,
watching.
if it's not porous, for example, Sephardim are known for having one set of dishes because they use glass. I mean, not according to this or that. I mean, really, glass is not porous. I don't think anyone could make that argument. But in terms of a community, Sephardim are the only ones who kind of do it like this. That they'll have like one set of plates. Well, Ashkenazim might have two sets or maybe even three. Really, stainless steel for sure is not porous. Just steel in general is technically not porous either. And there really should be some forum out there of scientists to just tell us what's porous and what's not porous. Now, iron in the times of Chazal was clearly porous. I mean, things would boil, water would seep out the sides, would bubble outside of the sides because that's the way iron was made back then. There's a few things I would like a forum kind of put together on, even carrying on Shabbat, carrying while you're not carrying, right? The whole notion of a Shabbos belt and kind of welding a little clip onto your key are just two of a variety of different ways you could carry by not carrying, but there aren't too many people out there kind of stirring things up. This year, I came out with a controversial video. People should be making pancakes and waffles during Pesach. I mean, during Mamish Pesach. Come on, you guys agree. Passover food sucks. But I mean, waffles on Passover. I have a video on it, and I break it down how there's nothing against halakha regarding making it in terms of it being chametz and stuff. So there you go. Waffles and pancakes on Passover.
Okay, I have another one for you.
All right.
Okay, so I'm originally from Texas, actually. And, obviously in Texas, there's a lot of hunting and fishing and so forth. So my question is in regards to halachic for the hunting. Is there any way for that? Can a Jew hunt?
Well, you came to the right rabbi. A Jew could hunt. Now, clearly, you can't eat what you kill. But, and I'm not encouraging people to be an unethical hunter. But if you make something out of it, if you do something constructive with what you kill, it's perfectly allowed. This is not just my opinion. I'm quoting the Notah Yehuda. The Notah Yehuda writes that it's perfectly allowed to hunt, that you are perfectly allowed to hunt, if it's done for a constructive purpose, one. And two, if you don't delve in what's called Tsar Balechaim, which is torturing an animal. I want to go hunting a deer with a 22 caliber rifle or a 9mm. Why? Because you're prolonging its suffering. No, the goal is to kill him quick. One, hunting provides a great service because it limits the numbers of deer. Most people don't know deer have no natural predators nowadays. Right? I mean, most wolves are killed out. If you don't keep your numbers down, there's hundreds of accidents on U.S. highways and highways all over the world because there are too many deer. And also, like, if you don't keep the number down, then they eat up all the food and they basically starve. So hunters actually have a quota every year. People aren't allowed to just go. First of all, there's a time to hunt. There's a hunting season, right? In America, at least in the southeastern United States, deer hunting starts in around October. I think September if you hunt with a bow, all the way till I think January 5th or something like that. And there's a quota to how many deer you can kill, and it's typically bucks. They don't want you killing does, just because that's part of their quota. There are scientists out there who use this as a way to ensure the future of the deer population. And when someone purchases a hunting license and all this goes back to conservation. So if you need a source, just look it up. The Notah Yehuda says 100% a Jew can hunt. Now, people think nowadays, because Jews are sort of like geeky and they don't like guns, at least like non-Israeli Jews. There's actually hunting in Israel. I remember when I was living in Israel, I saw a flyer for outfitters up in the north that will take you out hunting boar. Israel, I mean, apart from having gazelle and they have boar now, you're clearly not going to eat a boar, But most people who go hunting in Israel are not religious to begin with. But if you have dogs, let's say, instead of buying dog food, you could feed them what you hunt. Right? I mean, what's the difference? You're buying non-kosher food to feed the dog. You might as well provide a service and help thin out the deer population and give that meat back to the system, to your animals. That's the answer. You could dust off your grandpa's old shotgun this hunting season and make me a tallest bag.
Well, okay. So what about fishing then? Does it have to be net fishing or?
It's so weird. I heard someone say that once. It was a conservative rabbi who said that in Judaism, only net fishing is allowed. Nonsense. It's so nonsensical. There's no source for that. I mean, you could fish any way you want to fish. Now, clearly, the fish has to have scales and fins. There's a controversy between swordfish. Jews from Italy, Orthodox Jews from Italy, eat swordfish. And even conservative Jews eat swordfish.
Now, there's a rabbi out there, I think it's Reb Moshe Tendler, who argues very much against the eating of swordfish and other types of species, while people like Rav Soloveitchik, I think we're also Rav Herschel Schechter, say it's okay. Mainly because all these stringencies of what is classified as napir v'kaskeset, the fins and scales, were developed and really invented by the Ramban. In other words, it doesn't appear in the Talmud, it doesn't appear in the Mishnah. The Rambam clearly didn't have this standard, at least he didn't document it. So the Ramban, we see the Ramban and Nachmanides here acting like a posek and everyone running along with his interpretation of what fins and scales are. So right, it's not universally accepted as kosher. Actually, in America, for sure, it's not accepted. But it's always good for you guys to know the arguments.
But yeah, I mean, fishing is perfectly allowed. Fishing any way you want. I mean, you can fish with a bow, with dynamite.
That'd be interesting. Thank you.
You're a hunter who lives in Brooklyn?
No, no, I'm not a hunter. I do live in Brooklyn, but no, I don't hunt. But my niece does. My niece has, and obviously her father has, and so forth. And so that was my question, because anytime I've visited and he shot, I can't remember what kind of bird it was, and they put it on the table in front of me and I wouldn't eat it, and so from then forward it's just been a question on my mind, because I wasn't sure what the actual laws were.
Now, another reason to hunt is to remain combat effective. I was an infantry paratrooper, and since I get out of the military, one way, or at least one way I used to stay combat effective, or at least when I lived in Virginia, was to go hunting in my buddy's plot of land. I had a friend who had about 100 acres. And yes, I helped him thin out his deer herd. There's a way to actually make it kosher. It's called a clover trap. And we actually built one in Virginia. We never had a chance to use it, though. You guys could look it up, clover trap. It's a trap for deer or any animal that once the animal enters a trap, it collapses upon it. So as someone who eats kosher, it behooves you to run in there. If you're dealing with a buck, I would recommend you wear a football helmet or something that keeps the antler from taking an eye out, and basically jump on the deer and shecht it. Good luck with all that. But yes, it's possible. But actually, if you look in Torah, if you look in Vayikra, there's actually a statement that teaches that people back then used to hunt. Now, I don't really understand that. Like, I haven't looked it up in Rashi or Ibn Ezra and see what the Meforshim say on it. But it uses the word for hunt. That if anyone amongst Israel, the strangers amongst Israel, that hunts any animal, or literally Yatsud Zed, that while hunting hunts, he shall pour out the blood and cover it. So, at least according to the Torah, that statement's mentioned. I'm not saying that this is allowed in any way in order for consumption, but it's interesting that when building the Mishkan, many of the articles there, the skins, and so on and so forth, were not of kosher animals. So these are things that weren't killed to be eaten.
Now, clearly, all of these notions on how to slaughter animals for consumption are more rabbinic in notion, with the exception of birds that were eaten after they were sacrificed. But it seems that there was some sort of hunting going on in the Torah. I mean, outside of Esau hunting for Isaac, you could make stuff out of the fur. Like if you get a buck, you can make me like a tallis bag, or you can make clothing, or you could just put it in the freezer for your animals.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
No problem.